Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Belgian Football Podcast. My name's Scott Coyne, and I'll be your host for this episode. And this is a special episode, a very special episode. It's the latest in our long series of specials. Regular listeners will know that every so often we like to welcome on a special guest from inside a club in Belgium to do a deeper dive into what's going on inside that club. And this episode is particularly timely, I think. A couple of weeks ago, everyone will know that RAAL Louvière did something remarkable. Another promotion for them, back-to-back promotions. They are now at the top table in Belgian football. They've been promoted to the Pro League. So we thought, what better time to produce our RAAL special than now? Particularly when lots of people are going to be asking lots of questions of us over the summer about RAAL and what to expect of RAAL. So joining me to talk all things RAAL, past, present and future, is RAAL's sporting director, David Verwilghen. David, very warm welcome to the Belgian Football Podcast.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for having me. It's a pleasure for me to discuss with you about football, because it's always a pleasure to discuss about football. So and I like your podcast. So thank you.
Yeah, David's been listening to us for a little while, which is very nice, because when we first got in touch, the first thing David said to us was, "Yep, I know you guys. I listen to the show sometimes." And one of the things about the Belgian Football Podcast for us, David, is obviously we're interested in everybody. We're not specific to one club. We try and cover everybody in as much detail as possible. Obviously, there's slightly more of an emphasis on the Pro League than there is the Challenger Pro League, although we do cover that as much as possible. But now that RAAL have secured promotion, obviously you will find us talking about RAAL on a weekly basis now, certainly from the start of next season. But first of all, I should say huge congratulations, because we're still in this I don't know, some people might call it that honeymoon period, a little bit under 2 weeks now since the promotion was secured. And
thank you.
I was watching the final game of the season against Lommel, and for a long period that evening it looked like it wasn't going to happen, and there was a particular point where the camera actually panned across into the stand where I think you were sitting. Were you sitting with Salvatore?
Yeah. I always watch the game with Salvatore, so always on his left normally. But then, we went a little bit down to the stadium, and then I was at his right. But normally, I always watch the game for 5 years now. Each game at his left. So yeah.
Yeah, and the camera panned onto you, and you were both looking understandably quite concerned. You know, as time was ticking on. Obviously, Lommel scored first to increase the tension. An almost immediate equaliser, and then a race to see if the winner would come, which surely it did in dramatic circumstances. And in many ways, it's fitting that it was Mohamed Belkia that scored that winner, because he has been. There's a number of players, to be fair, that have kind of stood out, but I think in certainly goal scoring terms, I think Mohamed is definitely somebody who's kind of stood out, and somebody who we will talk about. Hugh Euphoria, of course. I was actually waiting for a pitch invasion. I thought the tension, I don't know what it felt like for you that evening, but the tension felt like it had been building. Take us back to that moment, because it's obviously still fresh in your memory.
Yeah. So it was a great moment, honestly. And when we look at the story and the scenario of this game, it's exactly the story and the scenario of our season. And I will go further and say it's exactly the scenario and the story of our club, because La RAAL Louvière is a historic club in Belgium, founded back in the beginning of the 90, and then bankrupt won the Belgian Cup first, 2003, then bankrupt in 2009, and then now revival in 2017, and we started from 5th division, and it was very difficult, a lot of up and down. So that's our life. I mean, and this game is exactly the scenario of our club. That's our history, in fact. That's our story. Very difficult game, and also we are way better when we concede a goal from day one, from the first game, from each game. I think this season we did that 12 times. 12 times we conceded a goal, and then we won the game. And that's our story. That's our DNA, I think. And that's exactly what happened at Lommel. So we conceded first, and then honestly, when we conceded, we look at each other on the board from the board, and we said, "Yeah, we will do it," because we know that when we concede a goal, we are way better. And if we wouldn't have conceded a goal, maybe we didn't get the promotion, because that's our DNA, and that's mentality. That's our mentality as well. And mentally speaking, we are very, very strong. Not only the players, but also the staff, also the board, also the supporters, also the fan. We are strong in our mental and our mindsets, and that's why we knew that we will do it. And yeah, then Belgian scored a fantastic goal, and everybody became crazy. I don't know if you saw the video from the city. So in the city there were maybe 10,000 people, more than that, maybe 15,000 people watching the game together. It was like the World Cup in the city. And then when we scored, it was crazy. Everybody was jumping, crying, shouting. It was just crazy. And then yeah, that's the type of emotion you want when you work for a football club, and when you work in football, that's exactly the type of emotion you want, the type of feeling you want. And that's why we love this job, and that's why we love this sport as well. That's why we love football, in fact. So that's exactly the type of night that you would like to live.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear you say there that you feel the side are better perhaps when you go behind, because after Lommel scored, definitely the kind of tempo was kind of picked up from your perspective, and it looked like that was very much the start of the game for your perspective. Because when I was watching it, I was thinking that the tempo of the game was not what you would want to see if obviously you're looking for kind of the 3 points, and looking down to the touchline, you could see that Frederick Takin, obviously your T1, was looking concerned, probably for similar reasons, and there was a lot of dialogue between him and the bench as to what could be tweaked, obviously, to just try and shift the impetus a little bit. But it was definitely noticeably different in the second half. I suppose it would be useful probably for us to kind of just touch on RAAL's history a little bit, particularly for listeners who maybe don't know the club. I mean, RAAL are not a new club. The current club technically is a new club, but lots of people of a certain age will still have a memory of the original club pre-2009, before the club disappeared. And as recently as, 2003, winning the Belgian Cup, beating St. Truden, of course. So RAAL are not a new name. Winning the Cup allowed them to go and compete in Europe the following season as well, and meet the likes of Benfica and Boavista. So there is a very interesting history there. Fast forward a little bit to kind of 2017, which I suppose is when the current story starts. Salvatore Caraba, the club's owner and president, who, of course, an ex-player, played for Charleroi. Later on in his football career, when he takes a step back, becomes involved in IT, makes his fortune in IT, and in 2017 acquires matriculation number 94.
Yep.
Yep, 94, that's right. Yeah, the original one, I think, was 93, wasn't it?
Exactly.
And RAAL are reborn, obviously, with the intention, the project of re-establishing a club in La Louvière.
So the project was really in 2017, on 10 years. On 10 years, the idea was to be in first division with the men, first division with the women, in a new stadium, and in new training infrastructure. And for the moment, we already checked 2 boxes. So the infrastructure are done. The club is now in first division with the men, and in 6 weeks we will have our new stadium as well. So we'll check this box as well, and then we still need to bring the women to the Super League, and then in 10 years we'll have done everything. So, but that's just crazy, because I don't know if you already said something 10 years ago and then you did it in your life. It's very rare to do that. But yeah, we are doing it in an industry, in a company, but also in football, which is a particular industry. And I think it's crazy to have done that. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear kind of you outline that, because I was going to ask you about the strategy, because it's quite obvious looking from the outside that there's a lot of ambition there. And you mentioned the infrastructure. Certainly over the last few years, it's been clear for anyone who's been paying attention, which we certainly have, that, you know, that something has been built there, the foundations of something that is intended to last, you know, a lot longer. And is obviously a long-term project. Has the speed of the kind of success and the development of that taken you by surprise?
Yes, a bit, honestly, because as I mentioned, so the plan was on 10 years. So we built this season a team in order to maintain in the league. That was our objective. And maintain in the league means that, yeah, we were also the lowest budget of second division. So for us, it was not feasible. It was not feasible to think about being promoted. But then, week after week, it became more and more feasible and also realistic. And then we started to think about. And then in December, we said, yeah, let's do our best to try to be promoted. And then in January, we strengthened the team as well. And then it became more and more realistic with the players we did in January. And then finally we did it. But honestly, yeah, we are surprised in the club for the moment, because, yeah, we said 27, we said 2027 to be promoted. And it was already very ambitious, in fact, to be in first division after 10 years of creation of a club. It was already very ambitious, but doing it in 8 years, nobody dared to think about that. Nobody dared to say it. But finally, we did it, and it's exceptional, and it's by surprise, yes. But we are ready. We think that we are ready because we have the structure, we have the organization, we have the way of working as well. We have the right methodology for training, for recruiting. We think that we are ready. Of course, we need to strengthen the team. We need to have new players, but we are ready. So that's something very important for us. We are ready.
Yeah, I think that's probably the one question that you're going to get asked a lot, you know, between now and the start of next season by lots of people, and certainly something we're going to get asked a lot as well. Are RAAL ready to kind of compete at that level? Obviously, you must have had a plan in place, you know, towards the latter half of this season where, obviously, if promotion was secured, which for a long time it was looking like it was going to be. I mean, when I look back on kind of the past season for you, it's been really very good from the beginning, actually. Obviously 17 wins in 28 there, only 3 defeats. I mean, remarkably consistent. And I think a lot of people have been surprised by, you know, that promotion from the First National. You know, you come up from the amateur divisions to the Challenger Pro League, where there's a reasonably big step up there alone. Then you make the step up to the Pro League. What were the objectives kind of coming into this season? Was it to establish yourself as a Challenger Pro League side first, or was there the intention to really give it a good go at the first time of asking?
Yeah, the intention was to, as I said, was to maintain, to establish first season. Then second season was to play top 4, let's say. So playing the playoff, but like being one of the favorite of the playoff. So and then third season was to be promoted, being in the 2 first if it was not feasible the season before with the playoff. So that was the 3 years plan that we had. So first to establish in the second division, and then to go up. And then I would say the final goal, or the idea now, the objective now, is to become a good club in Belgium. We know that we will never be Anderlecht, Bruges, or this kind of club. Will never be. We know. But yeah, we think that there is a place to take, and especially in our area. There is a place to take, and we think that we could become maybe the 9 or 10 club in Belgium, something like that. Between being, let's say, in good season, being in top 6, bad season being 12 maybe, but not lower than that. That's our idea. So in average, being 9 in Belgium. And we think it's feasible. And we think we can achieve that. So yeah, we are building our budget also in accordance with that. So of course, next season we will double our budget, but doubling the last budget of the second division, which means that you will be the lowest budget, but half of the before last of the first division. So I think the lowest budget this season was about 8 million, and we will have 3.5, something like that, for the players. So we know that we'll have to fight. It will be very difficult, it will be tough. But yeah, we try to be creative, to be bold in our choices as well. And in order to build something strong for next season.
Yeah, I think one of the secrets about doing well in Belgian football is obviously being operationally kind of quite smart, because there's a number of clubs, and we won't single any out here. I've got a few at the back of my mind who, from an operational perspective, sometimes don't always make smart choices, and sometimes that hampers their development. There's a lot of clubs who obviously don't always use their resources necessarily that wisely either, which is always going to impact what you're trying to do. And I think it's been very clear that, you guys have been very, very good at doing that. I mean, in relation to your role specifically as sporting director, tell us a little bit more about your remit, because you obviously work quite closely with your director of football, Nicolas Frutos, and a lot of people might wonder, well, how does David split his role with Nicolas as director of football? Because normally you'd have one person doing all of that. How do you split those various areas between you?
So my role didn't change since the day one. So my role is as sporting director when I joined in 2020. That was three main parts of my role. The first one is, of course, recruitment, transfer, negotiation. So I work with my scouts. Of course, we have scouts, and then I discuss with agents. I discuss with clubs as well in order to find the right players for us. Then I negotiate the contract, and then I finalize. So that's my first role. Also, same with outgoing transfer as well. That's also me negotiating the outgoing transfer as well. So then my second role is related to technology. Because I'm head of innovation and technology inside the club. Because I'm an engineer from background, so for me it's normal to have also this role, and I can help the club. I think difficult to find a better profile than me to do that because I'm an engineer from background. I worked 12 years in technology, in fact. That's why an innovation. That's why it's a role that I have been allocated to me. And then the third one is related to team management. So I'm responsible of the team manager. So that's my third role. But then the split with Nicolas for us is very clear because I was already there. And then once I had the opportunity to discuss with him, to have a dinner. So we had a dinner together with the president. So with Salvatore, Nicolas, I, and also an agent to introduce each other. And then we started to discuss. And we thought that, it was in our value. It was aligned with the way we want to work with the organization, etc. But we thought that he would like to be a coach. So we were happy with Frédéric. So no idea to change the coach. But then we heard that he was also discussing with Sporting Charleroi in order to become technical director. So we said, if he wants to be technical director there, why not talking with him? So I took my phone, I called him. And he said, but you are already there as sporting director, so how could we work together? And then I said, let's sit and let's see how we could do that. Because what I know my strength and I know my weaknesses as well. I know where my limits, I would say. And I'm not a former football player. I'm not a former football trainer neither. So we had a need to have somebody being able to discuss with the staff, to be head of staff, to be the boss of the coaches, not only for the first team, but for all the club, because I'm sporting director, not only for the first team, for all the clubs. So I'm doing also the recruitment for the under 18, under 16, and no matter what, I'm doing all the recruitment also for women football. So what I do, it's really split. And what we do, it's really split on competencies, on qualities, and not on domain. So it's not like we have a sporting director for the first team, another one for women, another one for youth, and same. We don't have a football director for youth, for the men and for the women. No, we have one. and Nicola is the head of football for all the club. And now he became some months ago. He became football managing director. So he is now the head of everything related to football inside the club. And in order to split our role, for us, it's simple. Like, is discussing with training regarding training with the first team, women, men, with the trainer, also the coach of the youth. He's discussing about methodology of training. He's discussing about also tactical issues, game model, style of play. Is designing our style of play and game model, but I'm not doing that. But based on his work of game model, then I define the profile and the needs that we have in order to recruit the players, and then I discuss with the players and I try to find the right one. So my team is the scouts, the innovation people, so analysts, data analysts, etc., and also the team manager and worker. So that's my team, and his team is the staff. So the technical staff is his team, the coaches, etc. So for us, it's really split, but we are working together every day. Every day we work together. So of course, if he wants to recruit a new head coach, if we need to change the coach, we are happy with Frederick. But if in the coming months, years, season, we need to change the coach, of course he will consult me. Of course we will discuss. Same for the players. When I want to finalize a player, of course we discuss together. Of course we define the short list together. We discuss, we consult, but then we have our own responsibilities. So my responsibilities are not the same as the one as Nico. So for me and for him, it's really clear, and we like to work like that. And we think that, we are really complementary, in fact, in our profile as well.
Yeah, it sounds really interesting and innovative in its own right, actually. The word innovative has kind of come up kind of quite a lot so far, and that definitely fits that bill. And it's interesting to hear you explain it that way, because I was saying that, normally one person would be across all of that. And Nicolas is quite a well-known figure, one of a number kind of connected to the club, because obviously Silvio Proto has a relationship with the club as a goalkeeping consultant. Lots of people will know Silvio, and of course somebody else who needs absolutely no introduction, maybe arguably the most famous name, is Enzo Schifo, of course, involved with kind of talent development of the club. And it's funny, I was thinking about Enzo earlier on today, actually, when I was reading a little bit about the club, because Enzo's story in relation to RAAL Louvière and Salvatore's story, there's some parallels there, both coming to Italy with their parents when they were younger, to La Louvière, both dads miners. And of course, La Louvière is Enzo's childhood club, the club that launches him. A very important part of his footballing career as well. So when that appointment was made not too long ago, I thought that was a real stroke of genius and a really kind of fitting appointment, actually, both from his point of view and also the club's point of view, for a number of reasons. So there's some really interesting high profile figures kind of connected with the club in kind of key roles there as well. You mentioned data and innovation as well. Tell me a little bit more about that and how you like to work with that, because some clubs are data driven, aren't they? And some are more data informed. I mean, all clubs tend to work with data to some regard now, some more so than others. But how important has been data and data application been for you guys in terms of the choices that you make in recruitment and operationally?
So I would not say that we are data driven, because for us, data is a decision making tool. So and we use it as we use our scout as well. So it's not like we only look at data. There are some clubs only recruiting on data. It's not our case. So we have for example, I would just take the example of the first team, men. So we have 5 scouts and we have 1 data analyst as well. And the scouts are not looking at data, and the data analyst is not looking at watching games. So he's not looking at videos. So for us, it's very important to have all the panel. And then I'll develop my own algorithm in order to analyze data for each profile, for each position on the game, each position on the pitch, we have a specific data set that we analyze. And then we have our own ecosystem that we build, our own algorithm. Because as I mentioned, I'm an engineer from background, so I built my own algorithm and data set and data analysis tool in order to be able to analyze the players and the potential recruitment. So we are not data only driven, but we are data driven as well, data partially driven, I would say, because we give importance to data, but not only. We give importance also to the eyes of the scouts, and that's why we have also several scouts. So
yeah, that's really interesting as well, because I know some clubs, as I was saying, some of their decision making is made entirely based on data. It was interesting to hear your thoughts on where RAAL fall on that kind of scale of being data driven or data informed, and it sounds like it's kind of in the middle actually, which is probably where, my feeling is that's where it should be. Because something we talk quite a lot here at the Belgian Football Podcast, and we're not data heavy as a pod. We don't talk about data a lot. It comes up sometimes in conversation, but it's something we try to dampen down a little bit so that we don't get too boring in our conversation, people listening to us every week, because not everybody's a data nerd. We are in our own ways, but we try not to bring that too much into the show each week. It's such an interesting area, particularly now, when you're working with a smaller budget and you're trying to compete with teams who have, much bigger budgets and teams who have, really big budgets in comparison to you. Smart use of that data in terms of how you apply it, because you can get information on anything now in great detail, but how you distill that, what you get out of it, and how you use it is obviously the secret as well. And often it can be the thing that can make smaller clubs, financially speaking, like RAAL, help to punch above their weight and help to make kind of smart decisions if it's applied properly. And you think of some big clubs who obviously might have quite a lot of people in data and stats working with them who are underperforming, and that probably covers quite a lot of clubs as a descriptor. You do wonder whether they're using the data effectively. I was talking to somebody recently who works in data, does a little bit of consultancy, and they were saying that the thing with data is you have to understand that when you're presenting data, particularly in a match analysis sense, to a coach or to players, you have to kind of keep it very simple and give them the essential information, not overload them. Because I was saying, you get information on everything, but what are the key questions? What does somebody need to know, and why do they need to know it? How is it useful to them in their role? It's kind of such a complex area, and I think applying it smartly is a really challenging thing. And the clubs doing well at the moment, I think, are those often that apply it well. Tell us a little bit more about your recruitment model, because obviously is it gonna change? Would you expect it to change quite a lot now?
The model will not change because we think that we have a good methodology, good processes, and a good model. So it will not change, but what will change is the type of players that we are now targeting. But yeah, the model will not change because we need to find players that others didn't find. We need to consider and value what others overlook, I would say. So yeah, it will not change. The model will still be the same. So we'll not have big names in our team, in our squads, exactly as this season. We didn't have big names, but we had players fitting with our game model, style of play, and able to make difference for us. So that's exactly the type of player we need. And also we are really looking at the mindset of players. We need players who are hungry, to succeed, and who wants to reach excellence. So and also are really involved on the pitch and off the pitch. So also in their career. So that's exactly the type of thing that we need.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how that journey is for you guys, because obviously that describes a number of other clubs as well, and how they try to approach their recruitment. It's one of the fascinating things about Belgian football, of course, is the academies generally are very strong, youth facilities are very good. It's a fantastic country for young players to go and play at a good level and to develop very, very quickly. So identifying that young, hungry talent that might be coming through an academy somewhere, or perhaps might be playing in another league at a lower level, who are obviously technically very proficient, who are very ambitious. The race to find these names is there's lots of runners in that now. Obviously, I mean, I suppose I'm thinking of another club, Union Saint-Gilloise, have been very successful, obviously, at finding players who are young and ambitious and ready to kind of make a step up in their career from the lower divisions in some countries as well. And I suppose to a certain extent this comes back to application of data as well. And also the markets that your scouts are working in as well, the leagues that they watch, because different clubs like to, not all clubs, but depending on the number of scouts, they will have different markets, won't they? They like to kind of prioritise too. It's very interesting to hear that you work regularly with a team of scouts, kind of 5 scouts, because the eye test, as we call it, often tends to get forgotten about. Sometimes we wonder when we're watching games each week, we go, that X player played really well this week, and then we'll go back and look at some of the data and we'll go, well, actually, the data tells you they didn't play as well as your eyes thought. So, you do have to bring the two together and kind of pick out the relevant information. Equally, I've been quite critical of some players some weeks, then gone and looked at some data and discovered that actually they were a lot better than my eyes told me. So you definitely have to bring the two together, because the eyes, give you different information, but can also be deceptive. So I suppose, being open-minded is quite important, isn't it, in this process?
You mean the process to gather all the information together, and the scouting information plus the data, etc.? That's what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So the way we work, as I said, so we have our system and our algorithm in which we consolidate information coming from the scouts. So the scouting reports are consolidated with the data reports. And then we have a way to score. I will not enter into detail, but we have a way to score the players. Also, we have for each position between 10 and 15 questions that the scout need to answer. Then when they answer to the question, then it gives a weight, also a scoring. And then at the end, we consolidate this scoring, this average from all the scouts, with the data. And then with this consolidation, then we have a formula to consolidate everything and then to extrapolate what the player has done in terms of performance today at this level to a higher level. And that's an extrapolation based on the formula that we developed. And that's what the way we try to extrapolate and to assess how could be the performance of a player in a new environment, in a new league, at a new level.
Yeah, that's so interesting, because it's quite a mysterious area for lots of people who don't work in it. A lot of fans have very strong opinions about all sorts of things, none more so than players, obviously. But the mechanics operationally of how these things work are always really, really interesting. So I think allowing fans more of an insight into how different clubs appreciate this is always really interesting. I wanted to ask you as well about your working relationship with Frederick Takin, your T1. Frederick's quite extraordinary in his own right, because obviously he's been at the club for a long time, almost 8 years, goes right back to the very beginning of the project as well, which is also kind of extraordinary. So he's obviously been a kind of key part of the project as well. What's your working relationship like with Frederick, and how has that developed over the years? Because you've been at the club for a little over 5 years now?
5 years, yeah, 5 years. So the story of Frederick is an amazing story, honestly. because the club has been founded in 17, I said, and at this moment we were in 5th division, so I was not there, but they were in 5th division. And Frédéric is not a coach coming from higher level or with a big name or who played in 1st division or something like that. No, he was at this moment in 7th division in Belgium, so second provincial. He was in 7th division, and the president met him, discussed with him, and said, "Yeah, I think he has the value of the club and he's aligned with what we would like to do. And maybe he's not the best coach that we met, but he is the one fitting with our value, our philosophy, and our way of working. So let's recruit him." And then they started to work with him, and they tried really to ensure that he was well supported around him. And that's why I joined in 2020, because the club had at this moment was in 4th division at this moment, and they had the objective, the goal to be promoted this season. And the beginning of the season was really difficult, so they lost a lot of games in the beginning of the season, and then they thought, yeah, we need to have also a sporting director, and that's where when I joined. And when I joined, first thing I had a discussion with Frédéric. I was an agent before joining the club, and I had a discussion with him, explaining that I will not try to do his work, his job. I'm not an ex-trainer or coach or football player, so I just want to help them in recruitment. And then we started to define needs together, and we started to work on profile that I founded, etc. And until today, we are still working like that. So I work on a lot of players, so long list with the scouts. Then the scouts are making the analysis. Then we go to short list that we discuss with Nicola. And then after the short list, then when we have a list of 1 or 2 players interesting that we find interesting, then we discuss with the coach, and we try to see if it's aligned with what he needs. So that's my working relationship with him. We discuss players, we discuss profiles, needs, and then of course on weekly basis we have also meetings. We discuss the performance of the team with Nicola and him. So that's what we do, and our relationship is good because we are good colleagues, I would say. And that's our relationship until now. We work together for 5 years now, so we have a good relationship on work point of view, and we are good colleagues.
Yeah, I would imagine after that length of time you would get to know somebody very, very well. And it's interesting here you say that, Salvatore felt that his personality and his character were right for the club and were a good fit, because one part of recruitment that often gets overlooked is that bit that's quite difficult to identify, and that is somebody's personality. What does the person bring to the club themselves? Because that's equally important. What's the personality coming into the dressing room? What energy are they bringing? Do they bring some added value? I'm thinking again, I suppose Union Saint-Gilloise have been very successful at bringing in, one of the reasons their recruitment has been so good is because they do a lot of due diligence looking at someone's background and personality, and do they fit the club's culture? And do they add something to the dressing room? Is a player a leader? Is a player, mature enough to be good in an environment with lots of young players? These questions that go a little bit beyond, do they have the right qualities as a player? The sorts of things you look at first of all. It's kind of, the hidden parts of recruitment, the personality aspects, really, really interesting. I wanted to ask you as well about Walloon football more broadly, because one of the things that we touch upon occasionally when talking about some of the Walloon clubs in Belgian football is whether there's a feeling that there's been a bit of a crisis around Walloon football for a number of years now. I mean, clubs like Anderlecht have been underachieving for a long time for lots of reasons, complex reasons. Standard, everybody knows about the long-standing issues that they have and continue to have. Charleroi, despite not doing too badly, and certainly Rick DeMille's been doing a pretty good job there, arguably you could say Charleroi are underachieving a little bit as well. RFC Liège, Frank Baran as well. RAAL's story really bucks that trend. Here we have a club who have been on this, really sharp upward trajectory, are now in the Pro League. And one of the great things about next season is obviously we're going to see more Walloon derbies, more local derbies, which is not a bad thing. But it's so nice to be able to talk about a Walloon club that is on the up and is kind of a positive story, because I think a lot of people feel that the weight of success in Belgian football for a long time has been weighted very heavily with Flemish clubs. And that's a historical thing as well as a cultural thing. But I know that when Salvatore kind of relaunched RAAL, part of the project was about re-establishing a club from La Louvière, a club that would go places and put the city back on the map as well. Do you think that having more Walloon clubs in the Pro League and RAAL there next season will allow Walloon football to get more of a focus perhaps in the media as well?
Yeah, sure. I think it's very important for Walloon club to perform well, because we need French-speaking and Walloon clubs also in our first division, and we need them also to perform. I think it's very important for Belgium in a broad sense to have a good Standard de Liège, to have a good Sporting Charleroi, and to have, I hope, a good RAAL La Louvière, because we will push the others as well. Being the first runner, I would say, we will be able to take the others with us, to pull the others also, the other club with us, and I hope to have in the coming season also Mons being back in first division, maybe RFC Liège when they will have their stadium as well. I hope, because it's very important, and I hope to have strong Walloon football. Of course, for me, an important club for me is Charleroi, because I've been raised in Charleroi, so that's my city, that's my town. So I like when they perform well. Next season it will be weird for me to play against them, because that's where I saw my first game in stadium, etc. So it's nice for me to see that they perform well, and I like when they perform well, and I think Mehdi Bayat is doing a very good job. So Mehdi is a great guy. He's very smart and he's doing a very good job. So yeah, I hope that we will see more and more performing clubs in Wallonia, because if we have so, then also the companies, the potential sponsor, everybody will be more attracted to football as well. So that's also a way to make good business, If once we have, I don't know, Charleroi being third of the league and RAAL La Louvière being fourth, and then we play against each other, that's just amazing in terms of the show we can provide, because at the end of the day, football, but also all the sports, it's also show, and we are also a show company, a show industry. So we need also to write some stories as well. So if we can write a nice story of a competition between two clubs in Walloon region, it will be great. I mean, I think it will be great for us, for Charleroi, for Liège, for everybody. It will be good at the end of the day. So of course, it's very important for us to have this strong club with us. Yeah,
you were talking about writing stories and shows there. Obviously, the new stadium is coming. The new stadium is almost finished. We've been following that closely. It's going to be a Pro League stadium as well, which adds even more excitement kind of to it. First new stadium, of course, in Belgium since Ghent's stadium, the Planet Arena, opened as well. Of course, building new stadiums in Belgium is notoriously difficult. As everybody will know, lots of people are trying and not managing to get much movement. But again, that's been another huge success story on RAAL's part, for really interesting reasons. I mean, the community really came together there, didn't it, to make that happen? And it's all been self-financed by the club, which is unusual in its own right as well. So that must be tremendously exciting for everybody to know that not only are you promoted, but you have a new home that's going to be a really exciting place to welcome new people to as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best example of our ambition, in fact, the new stadium, because as you mentioned, so the last stadium has been built was in 2013 in Ghent, and before that it was in the 60s. Yeah, and in Walloon region it was in the 60s, sorry, which means 60 years ago, the last stadium, which is just crazy, and we announced that we will build a new stadium when we were in fourth division. So everybody was looking at us like they are crazy, you know. But we are not crazy. We are just ambitious. And now you can see this ambitious coming to truth, and that's something which is one of our proud as well. We are proud to see now the new stadium. I was there this afternoon, and it's going very fast. It's building very fast, and it's nearly done. In 6 weeks, it will be done. So it's really just crazy. And when I see this, of course we are proud of that. And also I think the fans and all the citizens of La Louvière, they are proud of that. If you see now, we launched the yearly subscription 2 weeks ago, and we already sold 2,500 season tickets. Just crazy. It's crazy in 2 weeks. So we see that everybody is proud of the team, of the club, of what we do, of the project, and the stadium is part of it. It's a big part of it. So yeah.
Yeah, me and the guys are certainly looking forward to visiting at some point next season when we're over there together on the ground. We'll come to one of the local Walloon derbies, I think. That's probably the perfect fixture. Maybe when Charleroi are in town next season. What an opening weekend fixture that could be if that comes out on the trump cards. A lot of people looking forward to that one, that's for sure. We were talking a little bit earlier about the impressive infrastructure that the club's got. Obviously, there's the academy, the San Julian complex as well, and the new stadium. These things are even more important as well when it comes to recruiting talent, aren't they? Because having that in place gives people confidence. You know, if you can allow somebody to visit those facilities and say, you know, this is where RAAL are at the moment. These are the facilities we've got. This is the environment that you can come and work in and develop and progress in. They become very persuasive sometimes when it comes to kind of getting a deal done, doesn't it? Because sometimes it's those things that can tip a player in your direction as well. So from your perspective, I think having that infrastructure, the new stadium, and you know the excellent academy and the training facilities there is very strong when it comes to saying to players, look, come to La Louvière and play for RAAL, because you know we can match your ambition.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
allow you to play at the top level in Belgium. So all of these things have to come together, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. So we have a lot of good arguments to convince the players, and I think, of course, the infrastructure is one, the project is two, the way of working is three, the methodology, the people around us, the values of the club, all of these. That's really good argument and our strength in order to recruit players. Because, of course, as I said before, we will not convince a player using money, because we were the lowest budget of the second league, and we still be the lowest in the first league. So we will not convince with money as others can do. But we have our DNA, we have our way of working, we have our methodology, and we hope that we will be able to continue to convince players based on that, based on our values as well. So that's what we do.
Yeah, fascinating, absolutely fascinating. It's been really interesting to talk to you, David, and get a really rounded deep dive into where the club are at the moment. And it sounds like you're going to give some teams a run for their money. To be fair, I think, which obviously is the reason that you're there. There's no point in being there otherwise. Nobody wants to be there to make up the numbers. So that's very exciting to kind of hear. And obviously we'll be talking about RAAL every week from next season onwards. What a delight. Thanks for joining us, David. It's been absolutely wonderful to hear a little bit more about RAAL.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for inviting me. It was very interesting. a good discussion, a good talk. So all the best.
If you like what we're doing here at the Belgian Football Podcast, please do consider leaving us a little review on your podcast platform of choice. Whatever you're up to over the next few days, take care of yourselves, everybody, and we'll speak to you very, very soon on another episode, hopefully another special episode of the Belgian Football Podcast.